recording. Shh, we're recording. It's terrible. That's terrible.
Hey, on this episode of Breakfast Talk, we talk about the rumors of the new Assassin's Creed. We discuss the Flash trailer, the ending of Wandavision, Minecraft, GaryVee, and a little new news on our video game worlds.
Wakey, wakey, smell those eggs and bakey. It's time for Breakfast Talk, a podcast discussing current, independent, and mainstream The Breakfast Boys. As always, if you can smell what we're cooking, click that like button, and if your tummies are rumbling for more, click subscribe and ring that brekkie bell to turn on all notifications. All right, let's talk.
Yay, it's Breakfast Talk.
Breakfast Talk!
Breakfast Talk!
Breakfast.
That was like almost.
Yeah, that was good.
It's episode 4. So we got some video game news, some film news, and a bunch of other stuff. So let's get into that.
Take it away.
Yeah, one thing I was Greg shared with me on Facebook, and I immediately went out and started talking to my brother about it. And it was the rumor about Assassin's Creed, the new one that's coming out in 2022. And it's funny because, like, ironically, I've never played any of the Assassin's Creed games, yet I've seen all of them played through because I used to just sit and watch my brother play these games because they're fascinating. It's like watching a movie. And I think the only one I haven't seen entirely through is Valhalla, and that's only because that game is 375 hours long. My brother's been playing that. Typically he'll like play through like the whole game like in a couple of days, just because he'll do that. That's the only thing he does all day, and then he's done with it, and then he doesn't play games for like 6 months. And he did that, and he didn't even reach the halfway point of the game. And so he was like, oh, okay, this is a little longer. So they've been getting, like, these worlds have been getting bigger. They've been getting real intense. And now there is rumors, I think it was on 4chan that, no, I can't remember if it was 4chan. Who was the one that leaked it? Somebody leaked it. But basically, they called the codename Warrior, and they believe that the new Assassin's Creed will be based in Japan and will feature a female protagonist, which would be really cool to like just see an entire new world set out. And they have some pretty awesome art drawn up for it. But definitely excited to see. And it would be based in what they call the Edo period, which is in like the 1600s to 1800s. So it's definitely something that I'm excited to see come out. I'm hoping that this is something that will add a whole other level to the world they've created, because what I want to see is I want to see them as they keep moving forward. I want to see this stuff hit a lot more places now that that's even like been thrown out there. Like, that's such a cool idea. So super excited about that.
Yeah, I personally stopped playing Assassin's Creed after Black Flag. I played Unity, but that was hot garbage, so I couldn't play that game.
Yeah, I've only been really exposed to like the original ones, like the first couple games that came out, and yeah, to me they always seemed very repetitive. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of go up to the top, see what's going on, jump down, and like it was just very repetitive. But like obviously the next or the more recent ones are more open world. They're a lot more of like expansive and things like that. And like you're saying, Valhalla is like ridiculous amount of hours. Like that makes sense because yeah, all of these games, these next gen games are becoming much more like a story, less than it's a game, but it's more of a story. Like you're playing through a story, and that story can be as long or as short as the developers want. And the longer they keep you in their game, the more successful their game probably is going to be. Yeah. Well, awesome. So moving on to film and TV news. So we got a little bit of stuff coming out right now. Some interesting news. So the a flashy new teaser trailer came out for the Snyder Cut, pun intended there. And we see it's primarily focused on the Flash. There was actually another, I actually didn't see this trailer or even hear anything about it, but there was an Aquaman trailer before this one, like a Snyder Cut Aquaman trailer that's basically said like, it's like this, the original Justice League was supposed to help set up Aquaman a little more than it did in the movie, and like now we're getting that because obviously all that footage is going to go into the movie now. So basically, yeah, we're gonna see, or we did see some more of that like Aquaman stuff. It's out now if you guys want to go check out the trailer. But then also this new Flash trailer. It's very fast, which makes sense. But yeah, we just see Barry basically appearing to well, he saves Iris and he doesn't have his Flash suit on, so now she knows who he is basically, and now you have that set up there. But then towards the end of the trailer, you see him essentially running into the Speed Force. Like the opening to the Speed Force, and basically like at that moment he starts talking about past, present, and future, like it's all here right now. So basically like definitely alluding to and pretty much confirming this is going to be, his movie's going to be a Flashpoint movie. So essentially like leading up into that foreshadowing. So now we have more confirmation with this new trailer that's what we're going to see. So that's pretty awesome. And in MCU news, so for a long time, we've heard this rumor that Jane Foster in the MCU, Natalie Portman, is going to take over the helm, or is going to take over the mantle of Thor. And now with these new set photos and information that we have leaked, it's looking very likely. So basically, the set photos take place in Thor 3, where Odin, basically disappears. He dies, and then we see Hela destroy Mjolnir. At that spot, in the current MCU, they built like a shrine essentially to Odin and to Mjolnir, and where they're filming Love and Thunder, they have Jane Foster basically like on a rig looking like she's being like electrocuted or something like that, and it's in that spot where Mjolnir is and where the shrine is. So it's a very strong indication that we are going to see the mantle pass. I think that would be an amazing costume to see in the MCU, to be honest, because I thought the female Thor costume was probably one of the best like MCU costume, or I'm sorry, Marvel costumes that you've seen in recent years. So that would be pretty cool. So yeah, it's definitely looking like that's a go. But we'll see as the movie comes out. I believe it's supposed to. Oh, I didn't get the release date on that, so you have to wait on that. But anyway, you can check out the release dates or the potential release dates for that movie. But it's probably still in filming, so it's a ways away. But it's gonna be dope.
I'm also interested just because of that thing I was talking about last week, where basically like Thor might be the person who is involved in like the end of the MCU, so that it like resets the universe kind of thing. Yeah. And so it's interesting that the mantle might be passed off, because I don't know exactly how it's going. I've kind of like skimmed through some of those comics where it's passed, where like the female Thor takes over, and it's like, so it's interesting.
Well, what's interesting too is that actually he's no longer Thor, the God of Thunder. Like he's actually more than that in the MCU now. Like he's like Odin. He's Odin. Yeah, he's Odin Thor essentially. So like he's kind of already beyond that mantle already.
He is like the All Father now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the mantle passing to her is basically just like a title. Like here, you know what I mean? Like I'm already done with it. You can have it here. But yeah, so spoiler-free. I'm just going to mention this right now for TV news, spoiler-free analysis of the finale of WandaVision, since I know there's a lot of people who haven't seen it, so that's fine. I won't be giving anything away. What I will say, though, is it's very satisfying, just the entire series, how it builds. There was a lot of questions at the beginning of it. Is it moving too slowly? Where were they going with this? The way that they put all these different things together in a very pleasing way, and they still kept it within the MCU timeline, post Thanos snap, and so everything is lined up the way it should be. There's no questions as to like, how does this happen? You have characters introduced that are definitely going to be in the MCU moving forward. You have a setup of another organization that's a long time standing in the MCU that's now coming to the forefront, and you can see how they might be even setting up another show spinoff from that organization. So that's dope, and just the rumors, the potential theories that everybody had as to how where the show was leading. They threw him off, but they still kind of kept him in the running. So it's like, it's not really like something that you can put your finger on, like this is where the clear direction that the MCU is going. But I was definitely very satisfied. I think it was a great finale to it. Everything that went into it. You have these the clashing of all these themes that were set up throughout the show. You have literally a final clash between everything, and then it just wraps up in a really nice way. Again, a lot of questions still remain to be answered, which is, that's how you should end a series when there's going to be continuations. So perfect series in my viewpoint. Again, no spoilers, so you're welcome. And then we got the another trailer for the Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is releasing in 2 weeks. It's very, very soon, the 19th of March. I did see the new trailer. You guys can check it out. We were going to play it here, but it's just going to take up too much time. But it is really, really good. And it's kind of like you can see the cinematic integrity that they put into WandaVision is really carried over into this series as well. And one of the Anthony Mackie, the star, pretty much, it's him and Sebastian. He had some apprehension. He was like, I don't know if we can do the same kind of stuff we've been doing in like the cinematic universe in a show like this. And from what I've seen, there's no fear that that's gonna not transition. You know what I mean? Especially with WandaVision. So I think this is going to be an amazing series. It's only going to be a mini series, so it's only 6 episodes, and I think that's actually a benefit. It's going to keep it, it's going to keep it from getting too long and drawn out. You're going to have a lot of action, and in each episode, you're going to see a lot of movement, things moving forward, and then character introductions. They might even continue to help set up that organization, like I was talking about in WandaVision. So who knows where it can go? But yeah,
Honestly,
really,
that's
really
good
exciting.
for budget too, just because like you might end up getting better episodes if it's only 6, because they wanted to spread it out over a whole season.
They focused it in. And I mean, especially with COVID and stuff, you're trying to get a product done as efficiently and as effectively as possible. So I think it's a good move for them. Even if they kept most of their series at like a 6, thing, that would still be great, because you have more movies coming out. You have, so much property from the MCU coming out right now. You don't have to worry about, lacking in content. What you do have to worry about is maintaining quality throughout. So I think it's a really good move for them.
Yeah.
Cool. That's all I got.
For comics and like graphic novels, if you actually still are so satisfied with WandaVision, you can read a comic pairing that is a look at Vision. Take a look at Vision by Tom King and artist Gabriel Hernandez.
What's it called?
It's called Vision.
Vision.
Yeah.
Oh, Vision.
Yeah. It's a 12-issue comic series that ties into the character's past history over decades. It's a standalone story, so Vision moves to the DC suburbs and makes a family life.
And what's interesting about this specific comic series is that I think this is where they drew the inspiration for WandaVision. They just kind of flipped around things. And that's why it's a really great pairing, because you're going to see a lot of familiarity between those two series. And then again, if you kind of like the hijinks that, was right in the center of it, the kind of family drama hijinks, this is kind of what you're going to get out of this series.
That's interesting, because like that's a big thing. Like when I was talking about how what's his face, the guy who's running the MCU,
Feige.
Yeah, he's controlling the comic world as well now, and so like they are like a lot of the stuff that they're creating in the comics. I think some of them might even just be tests for what works out for the the shows and the movies coming out, because he can do that. So it's helpful, because it's a lot cheaper to make the comic than it is to make a MCU movie.
Yeah, and this series actually came out quite a while before like WandaVision. So like, and that's what I think, like, so titles like, let's say Game of Thrones, when you have like a book series or a comic series that lays down all the foundations, you're way better in a position to create something that works. Like you said, like you can test the waters. Yeah, this works, but also there's history there. There's details, there's information you don't have to create yourself, and now you can just focus on bringing these things to life in a satisfying way. So yeah,
until the writers have to start making their own story because the books aren't finished.
Exactly.
And then it turns to shit.
Huge mistake on that part.
Another comic graphic novel is Dark Horse and Blizzard have a team up going on, and it's for Overwatch. So they made like a 112-page hardcover comic or graphic novel, whatever. And it's
I don't know enough about like the Overwatch world. I've never even played the game.
I've never played the game, so like I don't know if I would get into that. But
At the beginning when they created Overwatch, one of their goals was to create series that went with them, like comic book series that or 3D like series that went with them. I don't think like because of the way that you produce a game, it kind of takes your attention. So I don't think that they got as far as they wanted to. But even if when you play the game, you kind of get this idea that all of these characters have histories. All these characters have like some form of story prior to them being in this game. And there's actually an anthology series that's already released that kind of explains that. So if you are looking to kind of catch up on the Overwatch universe, you can definitely check that out. There's an anthology series. I think it's just titled Overwatch, and it's from Dark Horse Comics as well.
Very cool.
That's...
What's the name of it, the graphic novel going to be?
Go ahead, Greg.
Name for it?
The name?
Yeah.
It's Tracer London Calling.
Oh, Tracer. That's funny. Tracer's that one that there was all the controversy about when it like first came out. Remember that? They're like, oh my God, if she's just supposed to be a character, why she have to show her butt? That was like the whole thing. The only reason I remember that so adamantly was my cousin got a Loot Crate, those boxes of random stuff, and one of them came with a Tracer Pop Funko, and it was a custom color just for Loot Crate. And I used to sell the stuff he didn't want on eBay, and that one like toy in the box of like 12 different collectibles sold for more than the box was worth. Yeah, like people were really looking for that. I was like, oh, cool. That's funny. That makes sense. They'd make their graphic novel after that.
But yeah, the artists that they have on the Blizzard team, or I'm sorry, on the Overwatch team is like pretty impressive. Like Bengal, like cover artist, he's really, really talented. He's been on a lot of different stuff. I believe he's done a lot of Dark Horse stuff, but if I'm not mistaken, he's done a few Marvel covers, like serious series, like Iron Man type stuff, like big properties. And yeah, just a lot of really talented people working on this. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, indie news now.
Yeah, one thing I'm excited about. I haven't dug deep enough into it just because I don't want to. I still consider it indie. I know that is bought by Microsoft, but what's it called? Minecraft. They added a bunch of new stuff semi recently, so I had to like completely scrap this giant world that I built for myself because the new stuff was so cool. I'm like, damn. Like they added stuff like copper, like that you can make, and it rusts like over time. I'm like, that's okay, that's really cool. So I'm like, whatever, I'll start over. So I do that, and then all of a sudden I find out that they're adding a bunch of other new stuff, and that the update that I had didn't include all that stuff yet. I was pissed. But the newest update, the thing that's really cool about it is that they're adding I don't know what they're calling them, but they're like stalagmites, like the spikes that drip in caves. And I watched a video from somebody who was starting to play with them, and apparently you can like stick them to a like the base of a rock, and whatever's above it, like water, will drip through it.
It
And
erodes.
if you put a cauldron under it, you can just collect the water. So you can have like a water source like there. Now that you can already make unlimited water source, so that's not that interesting. The cool thing is that for the first time ever in Minecraft history, you can put lava on the top of that, and it will drip and it will collect in a cauldron, and now you can have a lava producing cauldron, which is like friggin' awesome.
Well, I actually finally have my first article on this website called indiecomicsdispatch.com.
Woo! Congratulations.
With X, not CS. It's trying to be the hub. Like every person's trying to be the hub for indie comics, and this is probably the one website that should be. It's got news and a bunch of other stuff. So when we first started Sierra Nova Comics, we actually wanted to try to do all of that, and then we found out that there's other people that are trying to do similar things, but they got to it quicker. to do
Right.
certain things. So we'll just have our comics and a couple other things. Wow, these guys got like 2-3 podcasts. They have Beards and Comics. That's like a sister podcast now to it, because Aaron is the news editor for it. Aaron Dowen from Catalyst Comic Studio. So he's the news editor, and he asked me to be like one of the first like contributor like news reporters. So that's pretty cool. So
Epic.
it's technically another job that I have now. And yeah, so the first article is about this thing that I tried forming a while ago called the Indie Revolution. Didn't really pan out, but if you read the article, that you'll find that logo on there. And apparently our Scales cover that Dylan finished last week. So that's kind of cool that he put that on there. And people keep messaging me and telling me that it was a cool art column. So that's kind of cool to hear. Yeah.
Awesome.
Still staying with the indie stuff. I was wrong about the release date for Broke Down and 4 Dead Bodies. It was not March 1st. It was the 5th. So 5th?
This past Friday.
Yeah, Friday. I just don't personally like releasing a Kickstarter on Friday. I know people get paid on Fridays, so I guess that's a good reason to do it, but I like doing it on Mondays. It closes out his whole story arc that he's got going on. So the 4th issue is the last of that series, and then he's going to do a one-shot, a couple other things.
Nice.
That's pretty cool. Then you got Ether issue 2 from Covenant Comics. It's going to fund. I know it's going to fund because it's Covenant Comics. They've mastered Kickstarter. You can't master Kickstarter, but they figured it out.
They've got a good process going.
Yeah, and Heavens Decoded by Cypher Comics, which is one of the creators on our platform. There's actually 2 people that are on our platform that are entangled into that. Josh Harris and Orion Zulu, or I can't say his actual like last name. He has like a long last name. Can't say that. So it's Ronnie.
Ronnie.
And he's coming out with a graphic novel that's been years in the making. One of his characters from that, I don't want to say the name, is going to be in our video game at some point. So
Awesome.
yeah. And then with comics, I actually got in the mail. There's like 4. Saturn Alpha, which is like a sci-fi comic. Mojo Rising, which actually has this is got a connected cover with Voodoo Nations. So
okay.
they like made like a partner kind of thing of like, oh, if you get like this cover and you get this cover in both Kickstarters, it connects.
That's
like a poster, you mean? Like if you put them together?
It's like the back cover, like you can't see it because all this stuff is behind it. But the back cover, this is the front, but I think it's a wraparound cover, or it's the back cover. And the back of this and the back of my Voodoo Nations one, it connects into one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's pretty epic.
Yeah, that's cool. That's super cool.
The Polar Paradox, which is by Frank Martin.
Was that one?
Polar Paradox.
I think he's gonna have another one of these. He does mostly one shots. We had him on our podcast for our Sierra Nova podcast like a while ago. He's a pretty cool guy. He's the writer, not the artist. Mastria is the artist. I have no idea what his first name is, but yeah. And then Advanced Genetics, which is by Chris Moses and a couple other people. And this just came.
Sweet.
Yeah. Am I going to read them anytime soon? Probably not, because I got like 7,000 other things to go.
Yeah, definitely. I was so pissed off. I waited so long, and I backed this Kickstarter and I had digital rewards, and they just gave me like a Dropbox link. By the time I'm like able to read them, I'm like, man, I want to sit down and read. I totally forgot I got these things. The Dropbox link is no good anymore. So now I'm like, damn it, I didn't get to read any of those.
I think it was digital and somehow it wasn't like physical, but it was sent to a link for some weird reason.
Yeah.
Like, you print it yourself, bitch.
Pretty much. No, it was just like, yeah, read it. You can read it. That's fine. Yeah. Cool.
And then speaking of our video game, I was talking about 5 seconds ago. I started making the Kickstarter page for that. People won't be able to see that yet because there's a few things that like Dylan and Scott have to add to it. We also have to figure out the goal. I don't have the goal down yet because
we gotta spend
we have to spend like that we have a planned like Sunday or something in April where we're gonna just go over the Kickstarter and flesh out certain things. Like we need a server or something like that. So we have to figure out how much that's going to be. Then there's going to be we could use probably GoDaddy, but we'll figure that out. And I have to add pictures and videos still to the Kickstarter, which I could technically do that if I want, but I want to wait. I added some of the story of the Kickstarter to it, but yeah, that started.
Cool. All right, so I guess it's we're up next. So we have a game that's coming out fairly soon for beta. We wanted it to be on the 12th. We're thinking about pushing it back just a little bit because we have first of all, there's like a delay on like Android to put it on the Android platform. And since COVID's been around, it's been more like, as opposed to like a day or like 48 hours or something like that, it's more like a week now. So now even if we put it up on the 12th, like if we launched it or put it up on Android on the 12th, it wouldn't come out to like the following week. So yeah, we're gonna push it back just a little bit. We have some extra cool things that we put in, yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. Like we changed a couple things up. It's not like a huge change, but it's just something that's adding a little more time. So that's going to be coming out pretty soon. And then actually we are already planning a follow-up to it, which is going to be kind of an expansion. What we want to do is basically take the characters that we made for Blocky Dropper and make those like our franchise characters. So we have a bunch of different titles that feature those characters because they're pretty cool. We actually are up to about 30 characters now that are designed already. So just got to do the 3D modeling and we're going to be animating for the next game. It's going to be like fully animated. Everything's going to look dope. We actually have some team members are going to be adding on, hopefully like at least 3 more people. We have like one person who's pretty much down, and then a second person who just needs to kind of catch up with knowledge wise, and then he could be part of the team. But yeah, that's coming out 2022. And then we are revamping our website. That's like happening now. We actually already started revamping it. So hopefully we'll be able to put that out in like mid-April or May. And that's going to feature exclusive just arcade mini games, which again feature those same characters, our franchise characters. So it'll just be kind of like a cool little thing. We don't have a ton of stuff to put on our website, like we just we're releasing games like one at a time, and it is taking a while to create them. So in the meantime, go to our website, play those arcade games, and have a little bit of fun and kind of see what we're working with. And yeah, hopefully that'll be out by, like I said, at the very latest, the end of May. Oh, and then just stupid New Leaf news. This is like the 4th time I've like rearranged my desk this year, and when I say year, I mean from like 2021. Now it's from like maybe 6 months. I've rearranged my desk about 4 times. So this is like the 4th iteration. Before I leave, I'm getting rid of stuff before I move to Texas. So there you go. That's it. That's New Leaf news.
Nice. And yeah, so then I guess last bit of news for my brother's company, the Upstate Sound, for music production, video production. So music production, we're still working on getting a few more things out for one of our artists called EJ the Maker. He had a live performance at the end of February, which was awesome. So that was kind of cool to actually see something live for the first time in like a year. And then the other cool stuff though is, so that the videos that I was talking about, we were having shot either last week. Yeah, I think it was last week.
Yeah, it was last week with the fire.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. All the fire shots. So that video is almost done. I think after talking to the artist, I think they're planning on getting it released probably in like a month and a half. They might like release their song and then wait a couple weeks and then release the video. So I'm excited to see that come out, because after the artist saw the video, they were just like losing their minds. So that'll be Young and a Million. That's the name of that band duo. And then the other cool one that I'm super excited about is that basically a couple of the other videos that we were supposed to shoot last week fell through. So instead we reached out to a local artist who's kind of been getting a lot of attention. And we basically asked like, hey, can we make a video for you? And the only thing we're asking is that it goes on our channel. We won't charge for it, right? So we shot this video for an artist called Savvy, $ABBY. And the day after we reached out to him, all right, because it was like last week on Sunday, I think we reached out to him. That Monday, GaryVee has a playlist that he goes, it's called Monday to Monday. And so every Monday he updates this playlist with artists that he sees or that are submitted to him that he listens and he's like, oh, this is interesting. Like, I think this is some big stuff coming out. And Savvy's music got put up on there. So super
Nice.
excited that we got to shoot that video. He's been getting some like really interesting stuff. He's been in articles like on Pitchfork, which is a huge, huge site for a lot of this community. So it's very cool just to luck out on that for because
Yeah.
it wasn't the original plan, but because a couple other things fell through, we're like, hey, why not? Like, while we got our cinematographer here, we might as well try it out.
Yeah,
so,
it's like two of your worlds are colliding right now.
yeah, so,
That's always cool.
yeah, super excited.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Last bit of news, comic book news for us, Sierra Nova, is Scales is literally almost finished. Like I said before, the cover was done last Sunday. So all we have to do is the credit page, we're adding an ad for like our podcast and our platform, and we're doing a back cover of one of those or something else. But that's happening. And Chronicles of Horror, issue 2, the storyboarding has started. Sir Hector is the one doing that. That way, our whole process is much smoother than the last time. I even made folders in Google Drive for each story. Each script for each story is in each folder. It's just
very organized.
It's very organized compared to last time.
Yeah.
Because they just threw them everywhere, and it was kind of annoying trying to find everything.
Yeah, the whole process was very truncated because we like decided to do it, and then we're like, oh yeah, we only got like 3 months to do this before we want to release it on Halloween. So it was very like quick, the whole process. So yeah, this one's a little bit more deliberate, and yeah, we've started issue 2. We're still finishing out issue 1, but yeah, the surveys most of them have come back and stuff like that. So if you check your emails, if you did, try fund our Kickstarter, our first Kickstarter, check your emails if you haven't already. It should be in there like under promotions, I believe. So just go ahead and check that out. If you haven't filled out a survey when you got rewards, please do that. We've been reaching out the past week to try and make sure everybody's filling out their survey so they can get the rewards. So yeah, that should be awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome.
Cool. All right.
Now that's going to be my thing. Since last week I was like, that was my screenshot. Yeah.